Welcome back, everybody. So now let's talk about transformative rituals. Now, when we look at many sacred rituals, and the term sacred, that lets us know that these are dealing with specific religious rituals, and there's certain sacred rituals that are transformative. And what that means is that the person going through this ritual has been affected and is different afterwards than when he or she was before. In other words, if you look at the word transformative, you'll see the root word transform. So the participant has undergone a transformation that's caused by the absolute, the ultimate, the holy. Now, perfect example here is that many religions have ritual cleansings. So again, we see that word ritual cleansings. Example would be Islam, Hinduism, and Christianity, but not all are transformative. So what that means is that in Islam, the ritual cleansings are a ritual, but they're symbolic, that there's no interaction with the holy. Now, with Hinduism and Christianity, it's a transformative experience, becomes a transformative ritual. In Hinduism, Hindus believe that the Ganges River is itself holy, and bathing in the river is a transformative ritual, and they're interacting with the divine. Now, for Christianity, here's what's really cool when you start to learn about religions and you look at things phenomenologically, you start to see some archetypes. So we're picking up these terms from earlier chapters and bringing them along. With Christianity, baptism is a transformative ritual that involves water, just like in Hinduism. There are different rituals. The meanings are a little bit different, but as you notice in these pictures here, unless you knew that the top right, that these were Hindus, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference from the posture of the participants compared to the bottom left, these young adults here being baptized. Wow, it's transformative rituals when the participant is changed by the absolute, the holy, the ultimate during the ritual. Now, as we go through life, major world religions have set up certain rites of passage, and the first of those is birth. All of the world's major world religions recognize that the holy is present at birth. Some birth rituals are required to be a participant of the religion, but others are not. Now, some of the birth rites are performed at birth, others during infancy or towards the end of infancy. And what's interesting is that a lot of the birth rites often physically mark the child, which is kind of interesting. So we'll kind of slow down and think more about these birth rites. So we'll start at the top visual and work the way around. At the top left, this is in the Eastern Orthodox Church, one of the Christian churches. This is baptism. Baptism is an example of a rite of passage for birth. Then, the top right, this is common with a lot of Hindu and Buddhist cultures that involves head shaving. In other words, in the West, people have the ritual of taking your child for his or her first haircut, and it's a big deal, and you take lots of pictures, and the child cries. And other cultures, they will shave the child's head. And then the bottom picture here, you might be able to tell what this youngster is undergoing. Yeah, he's being circumcised. So all of these would be examples of birthrights. And you'll notice that some of them, especially circumcision, the child is physically marked. Now what's interesting is that some birthrights are associated with blood and or water as well as pain. For example, baptism has water. With the head shaving, after they shave the head, they will bathe it with water. And then circumcision, there's blood and pain involved there. And why would this be? Well, we have to reflect back into birth. All of our mothers experience these three things: blood, water, and pain, right? When we were born, our mothers went through a great deal of pain. There was blood involved with our births, as well as the water from the amniotic sac. Wow, so here's what's really cool. Thousands of years ago, they realized that they tried and wanted to recreate this in the participant with these birthrights. Now, the next rite of passage is coming of age. Coming of age happens when our bodies physically change. This is when puberty starts. We enter into adolescence. So what happens is that the world religions realize that because the physical body is different and now becomes an adult body, that there has been a change. So a ritual comes about, a rite of passage for coming of age. And this is when the participant is no longer thought of as being a boy or a girl, but instead of being a young man or a young woman. Of interest, before coming of age rites, the participant's sins are generally not held by the child and instead pass on to the father. Now, a lot of people go, wow, that's not fair. But if you stop to think about it, one of the jobs of a father is to make sure that his children behave and act properly. And if they don't, it's his responsibility. So he's the one that has to carry that weight. That's kind of interesting. Some common threads for the coming of age rites. The participants generally read from Scripture aloud to the community. These are communal rites of passage. In other words, it's not just the family being present. Afterwards, the participant is recognized as an adult and therefore can participate in adult rites and rituals that would be denied before undergoing the rites of passage for coming of age. Now, what's interesting is that the coming of age rites that are sacred and religious in nature are slowly losing their importance and being replaced in our global age by secular and mechanistic rituals. And the perfect example of this is that what happens when you turn 16? You go out and you get your driver's license. That's one of the rites of passage into adulthood. It's a ritual, right? So then what happens is you get that little plastic card that has your picture on it, and that's one of the first steps that you take towards being an adult. Another step you take is when you turn 21. What do people love to do when they turn 21? For some reason, we all like to go out to a bar and drink, and then throw up. I don't know why this is. It's a rite of passage into adulthood. And then, legally, in our secular world, at 21, you are a full-bore adult. Wow. So we have these rites of passage. Again, the first one was birth, and the second is coming of age, and we're hitting the 10-minute mark, so we'll continue looking at rituals in the next lecture.